last Saturday evening, Celia Shepard and Brian Hartnell, both in their early 20s, were sitting on this knoll of land overlooking part of Lake Berryessa. They thought they were alone, but there was a third man on this knoll, a man who wore a medieval-style executioner's hood, carried a knife and gun, and intended to use them.
And the guy told him to take the money. He said, I don't want it. Says, all I want to do is kill you people. I have to kill you. The boy asked him, said, you really mean that? And he said, yes, I mean it. Says, well, he said, if you're going to kill me first, because I can't stand to see the girl be stabbed. He said, well, I'll do that. So he started stabbing the kid in the back. He told me 10, 12 times, but he had so much blood on him I couldn't tell. I knew he was stabbed several times. And then he stabbed the girl. So,
the boy was conscious enough to give you a description of the man?
Oh, yes, they'd go out and come back, and it was taking some 35 minutes for the ambulance to get from Napa up here, which is 25 miles away from this place. And so they did a lot of talking. The boy thought he wasn't gonna make it. He wanted to give a description to the guy best he could, about the best he could give us. That he had a hood over his face, and he was a big guy. 6 foot or better, over 200 pounds. I've had 11 years patrolling this lake, and I've seen a lot of people cut up by boat accidents and this, but this is one of the worst things I ever witnessed, for no reason at all. Just a hooded man came up with a pistol drawn on him, tied him up, and then told him he had to kill him. So
7:40 p.m., Officer Slate at the Napa Police Department received this call, and the subject stated, I want to report a murder. No, a double murder. They are about 2 miles above park headquarters in Lake Berryessa, and they are driving a Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. And with that, the officer asked, well, where are you now? And he stated, I did it. And with that, the officer could feel that there was nobody on the line. He said, are you there, and there was no answer. This guy is a pathological psycho killer. There's no doubt about it.
Is there any doubt in your mind that there is or is not any connection between Vallejo and Lake Berryessa?
This we're sifting out now. I wouldn't say that there is any connection, yet I wouldn't want to tell you that there isn't at this time. We have some pretty good physical evidence that we're working on now. And of course, we're going to get together with the Vallejo authorities. We've been in contact with them since the incident, and we definitely will pool our resources.
I considered him a robber. I had absolutely no thought that he was anything but that. And when we were at this robbery stage, I didn't consider any real threat to my life or to the girl or anything. I really didn't consider this, but I really wanted to help him. And
did he seem as though he would like your help at all?
No, he didn't, and he didn't even end up taking the money. But I
bear no grudge.
Well, of course not. I don't think that he was acting under his total complete consciousness. And when a man is, if you don't mind using the word sick, you can't hold this against them. But the real concern that I have is that he doesn't do this again. I'd like to see some people save this experience.
If I remember right, in speaking with one of the deputies who was investigating this thing, he said that the first thing you told a deputy out there was to give some idea of a description of the man. Do you understand now how your mind was able to work that well under those conditions? You really did an exceptional job in that.
Well, through the whole thing, like I mentioned before, at the beginning, I did think I was going to die. And so from that moment on, one has to have certain goals that you have to set. The first goal, of course, was to live. I suppose the second goal was to get untied. The next one was to get help. From getting help, getting to the hospital. You know, you have to have a successive set of goals. And if you can keep this going and you can keep your mind active, whether you die or not, you're at least psychologically attuned, whether you're in shock or not. If you can keep arguing with yourself, praying, doing anything to keep your mind off of yourself, or at least just not lapsing back and just saying, well, it's no use.
you know that this man is still at large, and that there is a better than average possibility that this could be the same man who was involved in 4 murders over in Vallejo. Brian will probably be able to leave Queen of the Valley Hospital fairly soon, but where he's going from here is being kept secret in the event that the man who attacked him and killed Cecilia Shepard on Lake Berryessa a week ago Saturday tries again.
Zodiac, a symbol that now stands for terror in San Francisco. Today there was a possibly significant development in the terrifying case of the man who calls himself Zodiac and has boasted that he is responsible for 5 murders in the last 9 months. In Zodiac's latest letter last week, he threatened to make a busload of school children his next victims. Since then, school buses have been discreetly guarded, and parents' fears have openly risen. This morning, the people of San Francisco heard a man who claimed to be Zodiac talking on the air during a television conversation program with attorney Melvin Belli and the program's host, Jim Dunbar.
Get a kill.
That was the voice of a man who called himself the Zodiac Killer. He's talking to attorney Melvin Belli by phone on a television conversation show. This bizarre situation began at 2 o'clock this morning when the so-called Zodiac telephoned police headquarters. He said he was sick, he needed help, and he wanted to talk to Belli on television. All the scheduled guests were canceled from the show on the ABC station KGO. Belli waited for Zodiac to call on the private line. The phone was not tapped. The killer telephoned 12 times. He spoke very little, with attorney Belli trying to draw him out.
Jim said, well, maybe he's afraid of being beaten up or something like that. Now, what can I say?
Well, why don't we just ask Sam to tell us a little bit more about what he's feeling right now. Tell us about your feelings, Sam. You know, just tell us anything you want to.
And then we'll come back and I'll give you a specific answer to this question. Are you going to the gas chamber? Stay with us so I can answer that for you. But will you attend on Jim just a minute and tell him what you're feeling or talk to us?
Just tell us what's going on inside you right now, Sam, please.
I have headache.
All right.
How long have you had those headaches, Sam? In a long time? Since I killed a kid. If it all boils down to the question of you're giving yourself up, if you could be assured that you wouldn't get capital punishment for myself. I don't want to give myself up. I want to kill those kids.
Belli finally arranged to meet Zodiac in Daly City, a suburb south of San Francisco, to talk in person. The attorney waited in an office building, but Zodiac never showed. I asked Belli if he thought the man who called really was the Zodiac Killer.
I can't. Negative. I can't say. All I can say is this man needed help. This man seemed like a man who was coming up to a storm or to a climax, and this very blood-curdling thing. Children kill, and then a sort of an agonized cutoff, enough to turn your hair whiter than mine.
So inside the thrift shop, St. Vincent de Paul, attorney Melvin Belli and the San Francisco police waited for the Zodiac Killer. The man did not show, so now all we can do is wait perhaps for that next phone call from the man who calls himself Zodiac, who has killed 5 and says he's going to kill again.
I assured him he wasn't going to be harmed, and I stood there. And I was a target for him, more than he was a target. And I told him he wasn't going to be harmed, and he wouldn't have been harmed. And that I guaranteed to him, and I wouldn't have done that over the TV to the people of San Francisco and then had him harmed. I'd rather gotten shot in myself first than broken my word on that.
I think we can say honestly that we acted in good faith on this. He requested some assistance, and we tried to give it to him. So
you both sound convinced that this is the man, but this is not.
No, we're not convinced, really. I'm not convinced.
I'm convinced that this is a kook.
Well,
I mean a sick man.
Yeah,
not a kook in the sense that he's perpetrating a hoax.
School children make fine targets. I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire and then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out.
Now, what are you doing to protect the school buses, particularly in San Francisco?
We have a number of plainclothes officers following buses in the morning and in the evening.
We have specifically requested that they alert their drivers to not stop under any conditions if a shot is fired or if their bus is
subjected to a flat tire by the sniper. Further, that they get the children down immediately and proceed with all speed out of the area. And to try and attract all the possible attention by blowing their horns, and therefore get out of the situation.
Is the Highway Patrol and other law enforcement agencies satisfied with these steps? In the event this happens, help can come in time?
We're satisfied that it is all that can reasonably be done under the circumstances that might be present at the particular time, giving due consideration to the vast number of buses operating.
Have any of the drivers expressed any concern over their job now?
Well, there's naturally talk. Everybody's, I guess, tense about it, but they all seem to be in good spirits and all seem to be going on with the job. I don't know of anybody that's quit.
You're not afraid?
No, I'm not. No, not too afraid.
Since this last threat about the school bus, we don't know what's going to happen, what his mode of operation is or anything. I have no malice, I mean, in my heart against him. I just don't want this to happen again to anyone else.
I think this man is a psychopath with very, very seriously mentally deranged. He appears to have no conscience at all, no remorse after any of the acts, certainly no reason or even alleged justification for anything that he does. Several of the shootings have occurred without a single word to anybody, just merely to walk up and start shooting. This man is a serious problem to us. He's a very, very sick and very dangerous person.
San Francisco was terrorized in the late 60s and early 70s by a man who called himself the Zodiac Killer. He claimed 37 murders. Police confirmed at least 6. 4 years ago, the killing stopped, and so did Zodiac's letter. Now there's another letter. For that, Tom Schell.
San Francisco police displayed a blackboard with excerpts of the latest Zodiac letter at a news conference last night. Police are convinced it's authentic. Deputy San Francisco Police Chief Clem D'Amica said it's the 16th letter received from the Zodiac Killer and the first since 1974. Letter number 16 has breathed new life into the investigation of at least 6 murders blamed on the Zodiac. Old files will be reviewed again. For the last 9 years, the Zodiac investigation has been headed by Homicide Inspector David Tosky.
I have always felt a gut feeling that he was not dead and that he was out there somewhere and that he would communicate. I was always hoping that he would communicate and not commit an act. A letter I can handle.
The latest letter from the Zodiac poses more questions than it answers. Questions like, why has he only communicated twice in the past 9 years? Has he killed in that time? No clues in the latest letter. But more importantly, who is the Zodiac and where is he?